Hello, welcome back to the AllmyData tutorials. Today in this tutorial we're just going to talk a little bit about the different icons and so forth, the different functionality of AllmyData. We won't go into any detail and we'll just skip over it quickly. So with that, and thanking the Lord for enabling me to do this, let's just jump right into it. At the very top, up here, see where the mouse is, you have the name of the database that's open, and right next to it in the brackets here, you have the name of the table that's open. Next, you have some copyright information. You should always see that. And then you see the path to the database that's open. Just ignore the exe over there. Along this row here, we have a menu for files, and that will take us into a lot of stuff. We have one for editing, we have one for commands, we have a help menu, we have options, diagnostic, the big box editor, and the date and time that this particular row or record that you're looking at was modified. So it says this one was last modified June 2nd, 2015 at 12:48 a.m. Okay. Now, this is called the toolbar number one. We have two toolbars in this main window here. We have toolbar number one, the blue one, and toolbar number two, which is the gray one here where the mouse is. The first checkbox we have here is called any begin. That has to do with searching. And the one below that has any end, which also has to do with searching or lookups, whatever you want to call it. Okay. This lock here shows that the data is unlocked. If you want to lock it, you just click it like that, and it shows the lock is now closed and the color is red. So it won't let you enter any data in here now. So I'll just reopen it. This one here determines whether we're looking at a view, which is the result of some kind of lookup, or whether we're looking at the entire table. Now, if you look down here right now, see it says table has 140 rows. Well, let's see. If we were to do a search, this would change to say view has, and however many rows was returned to us as a result of search. This one here is the one you click when you want to enter a new record. AllmyData is by default set up to copy the record that it's on into the new record, and then you can just change whatever you need to change in there. But you can set AllmyData up so that it copies blanks into the new record. This icon here is the save icon. It saves whatever is in this window, in this whole window here is what we're talking about. It saves whatever data is in that window. This X, this red X here, is what you would use to delete this row. If you delete it, it'll still be in the data set, but it won't be visible to you in most cases. And then if you click this one, this will permanently remove all deleted records, plus some other functionality it also has. This is our little undo thing. This will flash on when you have a sound file in the particular row. Let's scroll down and see, make sure we have one. Yeah, see, sounds or movies, we have one. So if we have anything in there, that will turn this icon on, and you can click this icon to play it. There's some other icons that will pop up in here depending on if you have a picture or graphic available in this row, and also if you have a document. There's another one that will pop up. Excuse me. This one, this little timer here, this is to set calendar functions. We call them reminders to remind you to do something. This is the printer icon. This is the shutdown icon here. Of course, you can shut down here too. If you shut down here, you won't get any options. If you shut down here, you will get some options. Toolbar number 2. This one is very important here, this little drop-down list box. When I click that, see, it opens up to show me whatever tables are in this database. This database, look at the top, is tutorial tables. And the particular table that's open is business_tutorials. That's this one. If we wanted to open this one, we would just click here. Let's do it. Okay. See, that opened my little table. Now it's still the same database, tutorial tables, but you see right here, the table that's open changed, my little table. Now I just backed up to the previous place where we were with this. Let me get rid of this. This is some residual stuff here. I just push picture 1, remove it. Okay. This arrow here we just use, this green arrow, these 2 green arrows, they take you back. This one takes you back to the previous record you were looking at. This one takes you to the next one in that circle. It keeps, it keeps a circle of what you were looking at. In other words, when it gets back to the very last one, it'll go to the first one. If you're going forward, when it gets to the last one, I said it backwards, but if you're going forward, when it gets to the last one, it'll take you back to the first one. If you're going backwards, when you get to the first one, it'll take you back to the last one. So it just keeps you in a circle of looking at what you've already displayed. This one here is the one you use for searches in this window. So if you wanted to search for something like, let's see, say we wanted to search for our Doc Ortho and last name, okay? We can clear this out, all this data out of here with this pencil eraser, okay? And now we can put in Doc Ortho, or we can just say anything that starts with a D. That will get Doc Ortho, but it'll get everything else that starts with D. If we want to eliminate it down further, we can say everything that starts with Doc, D-O-C. And the reason we know that is because, see here, we have any ending, doesn't matter. So as long as the first 3 in all the rows that it finds would be Doc, we don't care what comes after that. It could be Doc Ortho, it could be Doc Mino, it could be Doc, it could be Doc 3, we don't care, as long as it starts with Doc, okay? So we click this and we get a search. Okay, there it came up with Doc Ortho, just like we thought it would do. And we look down here and it says at the bottom, it says the view has only 1. So there was only 1 Doc Ortho. Now let's change that and say, well, give me everything that starts with D-O instead of D-O-C this time. We do that. And it looks like the only thing that begins with D-O in this particular column is Doc Ortho. So let's just do it with a D. Okay, so we got 8 this time. See, look down here. Now, if we go over here and look at them, there they are. All of these start with a D, see? Now, these over here don't start with a D, and these don't either because we weren't searching in those columns. We only searched in one column. We could have searched in both columns. I'll show you what I mean by that. We can say, give me a D in that one, and give me a G in this one. See what we get. Okay, we got development, general, only 1. Now, this tutorial is not about searching. I just wanted to let you know that you can do searches, you can do lookups. So searching goes in a lot more detail than this, so we're going to leave it alone right now. This one here is used to get a row directly if you know the row number. So let's go over here. Let's change it back to the table. Okay. Let's say we got row 31 says IRS, right? Let's go over here. Now look down here. Right now we're on row 1. So let's open this up and we can say row 141, I think we said. Let's get 2 of them. Let's say 141 through 142. See what we get. Didn't find anything? I thought that was 141. Let me look again. My bag. That's not 141. IRS is 31. So let's get 31 through 42. Okay? (31) through 42. Okay, accept. There we go. This is 31. Now, if I move to the next one, it should be 42. Let's see if it is. 32. I'm sorry, not 42. Yep. And let's go over here and look. We don't have to go over and look because there's only 2. I back up to the previous one. Okay. Now, let's add something to that. Let's say, give us 31 through, oh, that did say 42. Let's see what's in, if there's anything else. Hold on. Oh, okay. Look at this. 31 through 42 is only those 3. So we should be able to get 31 through 42. Let's try that again. Otherwise, we got a problem here that I have to fix. Let me see. Oops, wrong one. Okay. 31 through 42. Oh, it did. It said we got 3. I probably keyed in something wrong before. I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm very tired. So we got 3 of them. Let's see what they are. 31. The next one should be 32. And I think the next one should be 42, if I remember right. Yeah, that's it. Okay, now let's go back over here. 31 through, we see 31 through 42 there. And let's add, let's add 228 to that. No, let me see. Let's add 102 to that, okay? We still want the same 3. We still want the same 3, which was 31 through 42. Now we'll put a comma. And what was that? 102, was it? I don't remember. Let's see. Yeah, we got it. Okay, there's 31. Look at the bottom down here. There's 31, 32, 42, and 102. Okay. And now we could say in 120 dash. That means start at 120 and go to the end because there's nothing over here to stop it. Okay, let's see what we get. 120 doesn't sound like that was much of a deal. Okay. There was no 120, but it still should have gone to the end. Oh, it did. It's got 140. I told you I'm sleepy. Forgive me. Okay, enough on that. This is the all field search. If we click here, we go over here, and we just type something in here, and it'll remember it on one of these buttons. And next time we come in, we can just click that button, and this button has 60, I believe it is. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it has 60 buttons. So it can remember up to 60. On the 61st one, it'll kick out the oldest one and put that newest one in. And it always keeps them sorted in alphabetical order automatically. But if you have some you don't want to kick out, you can freeze them. You can right click on it, but it won't do anything now because there's nothing in it. Let's do a search here. Let's say that orthodoc. Doc ortho, I think it was. Okay, let's do that search. Okay, see, it found it. We just put in ortho, we didn't put in doc, but it found it. Okay, and look down at the bottom, it shows you it only found one. Now if we go back in there again, see, we got it right here, what we searched on. If we don't want that to ever get kicked out, we can right click and say freeze this button. Okay. Okay, it is frozen. Now we can do that. Okay, let's go back in there and say, why is it thinking it's not finding it? Oh, okay, there it is. Let's move on to the next one. This icon allows you to add notes that's not a part of this data, but separate notes about this table. Now, you can have a global note, which is something that refers to the whole table, and you decide this. You decide how you want to do it. Or you can have a row note, which means you can make a note just for one of these rows, any one of the rows. And whenever you come to that row, this will light up to tell you you got a row note, and if you click on it, it'll open up the row note so you can read it. Okay. Now this is not to be used in case you're on your job and using this. This is not to be used to hide stuff from the boss. And okay, so let's just do that right quick. Let's create a note. We hit note. Okay, it opens up the note editor. And if you want it to be urgent, you can click urgent down here. And if that's the case, let's click it. Well, we got to put something in here first. I'm just going to say global note. And let's make it urgent and exit. Do you want to save it? Yes, save it. You have created and saved the global note. Okay. See, now instead of that in, it shows an urgent note. And since it's global, it'll show up anywhere that we go. We're on the first row of the table. Let's go to the last one. See? We're on the last one now, which is 1,349. That's the row number of the last one. See, these rows can have gaps. This one has lots of gaps. You can take the gaps out if you want to, but we're not going to go into that. You would use this icon. That's one of the functions, this icon, to take those gaps out. Now, let's change it back to not urgent. We go in here and we just uncheck down at the bottom where it says urgent, and now we exit and see it just says note again. So we click note. There, we can see our note. Okay. Now, let's see. Okay, that's what I was looking for. See, it changed to RN. That stands for row note. we had to move off of that particular record before it changed. Okay, we already used this pencil eraser here. This erases everything that's in this window here. And these are our navigator keys. They're standard, you know, first in the record set, last in the record set, previous one, next one. But it's something you should know about this. Depending on how the record set is sorted, the record numbers may not be alphabetical. So if you use these keys, these two, previous and next, you're just going to get the next one in the record set and so forth. And you use these two outer ones, you're going to get the first one in the record set or the last one in the record set. But that may not be the highest numbered one, see, or the lowest numbered one. But you can force it to do that by, instead of just clicking, right click. If I right click on this, it'll take me to the lowest record number in the record set. If I right click on this one, it'll take me to the highest number in the record set. And see that the way they're sorted, if there's 3 records in here, 1, 2, and 3, the highest one could be 2 or it could be 4. But if I click would right click this, it's going to give me 3 because that's the highest sequential number. Don't worry about that too much. This one turns the reminders, the calorie reminder function on and off. So we don't have to worry about this. This one is for a calculator. If you need to use a calculator, you just click this and a little calculator pops up. You can use that. This one sorts the this thing by however you want to sort it. You know, you can say like take all these out and say sorted by state if you want to, by state, by country, by last name, by code, by first name, any kind of order you want to put these in. It'll sort all of these fields. There's no limit on. I think maybe I better back up off that. There may be a limit of 10. At one time I know I had a limit of 10. I don't know if I removed it. I don't remember. Okay. So anyway, I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to cancel. Oh, you can set it for ascending, descending, or you can just leave it unsorted, you know, unsorted and leave these fields in here for when you want to come back and make them ascending or descending again. So cancel out of that. And we've been using this one. This one takes us to our spreadsheet view. And we see over here, and this is standard old spreadsheet. We can scroll and do all kinds of things. We can use this down here, this navigation bar. We can say go to the last row. It went down to, see the last one is 1349. Go to the first one. Hold on. Oh, we went to the first one. I just want, this one's the one that was highlighted. I don't know why that. Okay, but we're in the first one. And then we can go to the next one like that, see? Or the previous one. Same way with the things on the other side. And I'm not going to cover these. This is pretty much the same as what you saw over there. So I don't want this tutorial to get to be too long and you become bored with it. Here is the column names for all the columns in this table. There's more than can fit on here, so you can scroll down like that. And you can have a picture in here, picture 1, picture 2. All you got to do is double click it, and it'll give you Windows Explorer, and you can just navigate right to the picture you want to load in there. We'll do that if we have time at the end. Down here you have a message that scrolls. That can be any message you want. You load the message by putting it in a certain file name, but you can also load a different file name. This is going awfully slow. See, I can speed it up. Just click it. Now it's probably going maximum speed. If I click it 1, it'll slow down a little bit. Click it again, it'll slow down a little more. Click it again, it'll slow down a little more. And it's flashing a lot because I have the software running that's making this tutorial, and you know, it's not running at a very fast resolution. Okay, so what else? Oh, these are your console messages right here. AllmyData is always sending console messages to this area here to let you know what you're doing. If you click on it and wait a second or two, it opens up. See? It's showing you the last thing it did now. Now the best way to do this, click it again, it closes up. Best way to read those messages, to right click it, and you can say delete messages or send messages to WordPad, or send messages to WordPad and then delete the messages, or filter messages to WordPad. That'll let you search through and send only certain ones. Or cancel this operation. Cancel. Let's get it back. Or shut down. We don't want to shut down. Let's send all the console messages to WordPad. Now it wants to know, do you want them single space or double space? I want to say double space them. Okay. And there it is. See, it's a lot of messages. I think it holds up to 500 before it starts scrolling again, and then that can be changed, that limit. Here, we see at this particular time we were into this module called display a record and so forth. Now this will be coded and won't particularly mean much to you, especially at first. This is not really for your use. This is in case there's some kind of problem either with your operation or with the tables or database or with AllmyData or whatever, and we need to troubleshoot it at the help desk. You can send us that file, so you can do that and send us that file. And there's a much more comprehensive file also that you can send us. I may as well show you that. If I go over to the option dialog window and I click file here and trace options down here, I have a lot of different trace options. I'm going to say display the standard trace. You can filter through traces. Now it maintains 3 traces at all times. When one gets to a certain size, it'll stop using that one and use another one, the next one in order. So it uses trace 1.txt, trace 2.txt, trace 3.txt. These are just regular text files. So let's get the latest date one, that's 7/11 today. We'll open that one up. And see, it's sending right over to WordPad for us. And we can look through there and we can see that all kinds of good things were happening. Dates and times and module numbers and ID numbers and text telling us what was going on at that time. So we have an audit trail right through AllmyData of what's going on. See, and this one is basically unlimited, I guess. It probably could hold 2 billion interest, but I put a cutoff on it so to keep it from running slow. I forget what the cutoff is. It might be 10, 20 meg or something. I don't know. Anyway, that's enough of that, and we get out of here because what we're talking about is this window over here. All right, we covered all that. Now down here at the bottom, shows you what row we're on, shows you whether we're in table or view. If it's in table, it'll show you the total number that's in the table. If it's in view, it'll show you the total number of the view. Now remember, the view is what you get back as a result of doing some kind of lookup or search. There's other kind of searches you can do in here too, but we're not going to cover them now. This priority and this all and all this good stuff, that's just for the calendar. You know, if I right click this, I can choose priority, and these priorities have some various meanings. Or I can just do this and it'll go round robin from one to the next. What I really want is all, so let me get back to all, okay. That says let them all through. And this is just the date and the time. Now there's one other thing we need to cover here. When there's too much data in one of these things, a big box will open so you can see all the data. Now, also, if you hold your mouse over here, it'll tell you what you can put in there. See, up to 2 bytes of string data. That means you can only put 2 characters in there. I set it up that way. You can set it up however you want it to be. You can put anywhere up to 2,247,000,000, I think, if you want to. I think that's the number. This one, see, says you can put up to 75 bytes in here because the city can be long. Some cities have long names. Addresses can be long. That one's 150. And phone will allow you up to 75 for some reason. I don't know why I gave that many, but it's easy to change it. And now let's get to one that's got a lot here. This one. This one allows you up to 10,000. 10,000. I suppose it'll be 100,000. Let's fix it. I'm going to go to the redefine dialog. We're going to say load the defaults in there. Okay, and here's comment, and sure enough, it only has 10,000. So let's put one more zero on there. See, it tells you string. You could choose other types of data for it, but this is a string, and it allows up to 100,000 characters now, and it doesn't have any structure as far as capitalizations. We could force it to be mixed, or we could force it to be no capitals. You just use the shift key to capital it. We can say upper, it'll put everything in uppercase. We say lower, it'll put everything in lowercase, like that. Okay, so let's just save it with this one change. By the way, if you come over here and you didn't make any changes, you wanted to force it to rebuild anyway, you could just click force here and it would rebuild it the same as if you made a change. Okay, it takes it a little while because for some reason, I don't know what the reason is, it has to stop and pause for a few seconds between certain things and just to make sure some things catch up with other things. Now, in here, you can choose your color scheme. I'm just going to keep the one we have, which, as you can see here, is blue and gray. I'm just going to keep it, so I'll either cancel out of here or hit the escape key. Okay, now let's put this on here. Okay, now it says we can put 100,000 bytes in there. Okay, let's just start typing something here. Let's say now is the time for all good men and women to come to the aid of their country. See what happened? When it was too much to hold in there, it spilled over here into this box. Now when I do that, all the data is still there, but you can't see it. So if there's more data than it can hold in this space, if you just click in there, it'll automatically open. But you can force any of these to open. Like this one has nothing in it right here, code, right? I can hold down the Alt key and right click, and it forces the box open. Now when that box opens, let's look at this one. See, it tells you to click me and press escape to close. It says the column name is comment, which is true. This is it says big box editor is inactive. That means if you click in here, nothing's going to happen. It says the space that has been used is 78 and the maximum space is 100,000. This is row 1, column 4. Now, if we want to go to the big box editor because we want to do something fancy with this, we click right here, big box editor. Now see it says big box editor is active. We click in here and it takes us to the big box editor, whose colors are not, not so good in here. We can change the color and everything. This is an editor kind of like WordPad or something like that. Something I threw together, right? But it does work. And I'm going to have to do something about this, the dark colors there, not allow that to happen. What it does is when you go from one box to another, dialog to another, it copies the color scheme, colors from the color scheme. And sometimes I kind of copied the wrong one. Instead of copying what's over here, which is what I did, I should have copied what's here, okay, as the color for the main thing there. Okay, this just about covers everything that I wanted to cover, but it will show you the menus before we close out here. If we click on the File menu, this can take us to database operations, see, Zippo. We click on tables. It takes us to all the things you can do with the table. One of the important things to know is you can open a table from here if there's a database, if the database is open. And you can do that right here, or you can, as you can see, you can hit Control O. That's the easiest way to do it. But this will open up the table box, see, and let you choose a table. Inside of here is Reopen Database. You can reopen the database and it'll bring you right back to the same place you are. Or you can reload only the table. If you reload the database, it reopens the database and the table, and it brings you back here. Sometimes something can get hung up. That's a little handy little thing to do. Businesses tutorial and my little table, that's the two tables. We already demonstrated how to go through that, so I'm going to hit cancel right here. This one, the edit menu, you can insert current dates and times and so forth. You can copy a record from to the end of this table, or you can copy a record to another table, and it could even be in another database. You get that option. And you can tell it where to put that record. It can put it at the end of that table or in a certain slot, record number. That's up to you. Okay, and select all, don't worry about that. You got paste here, and you can reset the highlighted columns. Highlighted columns are like over here. If you click here, it'll highlight that. It'll reverse the colors. And if those colors are reversed like that, and then you do copy fields, it will only copy the fields that are highlighted that way. So it toggles on and off like this. Okay. And help, this is an interesting one. One of the things you might want to do is AllmyData documentation. And here's a good little thing. There's a lot of documentation with AllmyData. All these are different manuals or documents or whatever. A list of shortcut keys combinations. That's good to bring up and just leave it open. It opens up a PDF file. And you can see all the shortcuts. F1 opens a help file. F2, let me make this bigger. Hold on, I can't read it. Where's my thing for making it bigger? Hold on. Okay, there it is. F1 opens a help file. F2 sets a new bookmark. F3 returns to a previous defined bookmark. F4 opens a database. F5 refreshes the current row, and so on and so on, and ooby-dooby-doo. All the way down through here, you can see there's different key combinations that do these things, different key combinations there, different key combinations here, different key combinations there. So there's a lot of different shortcuts in AllmyData, and you're not going to remember them. I don't even remember them. I remember the ones I use all the time. So it's a good idea to just open this up and keep it open. Just minimize it so when you need it, you can bring it up and see how to do something quickly, because you probably won't remember what menu to go to and all that kind of stuff. Now we have the options menu, which opens up the option dialog. There's a lot of stuff on here. We're not going to cover that. You can set up your background music. You can set up startup music. You can set up movies that's going to play automatically. You can do this, do that, and do the other. And we're just not going to mess with this today on this tutorial. And there's a lot of things over here you can do. The other thing I point out to you is what we did, load a color scheme. You can do that. Okay, we did do that, I mean. Now, there's a lot of things you can do with colors. You can change the colors in the color schemes yourself. You can make up your own color schemes, you know. You can do whatever you want to do with this thing. Okay? And the big box editor, we showed you that it went from the open big box into an editor where you can edit stuff and then save it back in the big box. This here is not really a menu. You click on it, it doesn't do anything. It just tells you the last time this particular record was modified. That's it. Okay, I think we've quickly covered everything. I mean, I know the time was rolling, but there's a lot to cover, and we didn't cover anything in detail. There's other tutorials that you'll be able to use to see things in detail. There's a really nice manual, and there's technical highlights. There's a lot of good things to help you really understand AllmyData and what it can do for you. And believe me, it can do a lot. It is a multimedia database manager, as you probably already know, meaning that you can track and store multimedia type files, you know, like pictures, movies, documents, and all that kind of stuff. And you can have text here, and you can have numbers here. You know, it's a combination of stuff. It pretty much covers everything. Now, there's a lot of stuff in AllmyData that we didn't touch today. Oh, there's one thing I need to show. This button here pops up if something has been changed. That's because we went in here and was messing around. This button is a commit button. It's used kind of in conjunction or in addition to the redo button and undo button. It keeps track of everything you're doing until you clear it out. And then it starts all over keeping track. So we can go here and, hold on a minute. Oh, I never did clear this little monster out. Okay. My cursor didn't go back the way it should go back. Let me just do this. See if that resets it. I think it will. Yeah, okay. So, let me see if, I don't know if you can read it, but it says save or undo all recent uncommitted changes. Right click to display pending commitments. Now you can selectively undo some of the stuff that you have saved. I don't recommend that. You can get things out of sync, but if you know, you're confident you know what you're doing, you can selectively uncommit some of those things, which in effect restores them back to the way they were before you altered them. And the things we're talking about are rows of data. Okay, so I'm going to click this. It opens up a dialog. Says you have encountered one of the following conditions: the write buffer is full, or you have checked the commit rollback button. That's what we did. You have changed the file date in the table and are about to close it. If you're about to close that table and you haven't committed, it will force you to do something. You have changed the structure of a table and are about to close it. Or you are entering a critical operation where AllmyData may become unstable if errors are encountered, so it forces you to make a decision there. You will have to either save, which means commit all changes, or discard, which means undo all changes. Please choose one. If you got the message because you clicked the commit or rollback button, you may procrastinate and decide later. If you're opening a table, you may have the option of canceling the opening. So here we can say commit the changes, undo all changes, we can say decide later, or show me the stack, or select which items to be backed out. So let's just say show me the stack. It goes over here to good old WordPad and shows you all the stacks. This is stack 8 of 8, 7 of 8, 6 of 8. They're stacked backwards, you know, it's like, what is it, last in, first out stack. So we're not going to play with that, but you can look at that if you want to, you know, that's up to you. And so it comes back here. So what I'm going to say is commit all changes. I could say undo all changes and it would just unstack all of them. If I say commit them, it wipes them off the stack. and see the icon disappear. Now, I hope you have gotten something out of this. I hope you find AllmyData interesting. I know it can be perplexing. It can look like a whole lot of stuff, but it's very easy to operate for this kind of software. It's designed to basically press enter when you're making decisions and choices. You don't know what to do, just press enter. It'll take care of it for you. There's 3 modes of operation that you can operate in. I'm operating in expert mode. There's also a prompt mode, and there's a novice mode, which you can select just easily by going over here and commands, operating mode. See, we're in expert mode. You can select prompt mode, or you could select novice mode. Now, prompt mode gives you some additional prompts as you're walking through stuff. It'll explain some things to you. A window will come up and say, look at this. This is what you're about to do. You got to tell us how to do this by giving me this information, giving me that information, and so forth and so on, right? And expert mode, you don't get that kind of help to that level. And in novice mode, let's go over here and watch novice mode. Just want to show you something real quick. Okay, command, operating mode, novice mode. Look at what you're seeing here. See, you got a full screen in your option dialog. We go to this one, and it tells you you're entering novice mode and blah, blah, blah. Now let's go back over and look. Look, a lot of the stuff is missing now. A lot of the stuff you don't have access to. Those things are going to be handled automatically for you when you're in novice mode. And you'll hear AllmyData talking to you saying your data is being backed up and blah, 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 blah. You know, things like that when you're in novice mode. Now, those modes are not quite up to date. They're not complete. This is a lot of code in AllmyData. For any programmers out there, there's upward of 80,000 lines of code. So you know what I mean. And that's just in AllmyData. So there's DLLs and stuff like that that were developed, that I developed myself to, as part of AllmyData. Anyway, it's a big project. So that's it. Thank you for your time. And this is a tutorial. You can stop it anytime you want to. You can back up and so forth. And you can use this in addition with any manuals that you might be interested in. Let's load one picture, okay? This is picture 1 here. Just double click. See, it takes you to whatever you have set as your default pictures. And I'm going to say here, I'm not going to use my default pictures. I'm going to use something I have just for all my data right here. Pictures and here and here and here. And, oh, look at that. If you're an American, let me adjust this picture. If you're an American, there's your current president. Voila. Okay, that's about it. We're going to wrap it up. Thank you once again. God bless you. Bye.